How are you? How are you? REDgen is a group that works to decrease the stigma around mental health in the Milwaukee area. So I know there's like a lot of negative stigma around mental health, and so when people in the school find out that you're a part of REDgen, what are the reactions that you guys get like towards this club and towards the organization?
So at first, when like sometimes I tell people about it, they kind of think it's a joke because there's a lot of like jokes and like memes out there about mental health and like stress relief, you know? So like once you actually get the conversation going, you can tell them that like it's a real like part of life that you have to deal with, and like it starts now. So like if you start now in high school of knowing the correct ways and ways that actually like work to like help you out with like your mental health and your stress, like you can really like have a good way of going like into life and into college, which probably has helped you too. So like starting now and telling other kids about it, like if you actually get into the conversation with them, a lot of people like understand you and get what you're going at. So
a lot of what we do when we work with our student bodies, we're pretty colloquial in our terms and our usage, and we don't necessarily start right off and we're like, we're going to come talk to you about mental health. We start off as like, hey, do you want to come crush a water bottle? And like something that more high schoolers would like want to do rather than sit down and have a conversation about how they're feeling. And I think that's helped start to get people talking about it, and just putting it into people terms and trying to normalize conversation. So like bringing it up more often and like checking in with people and asking how they're doing.
I think like other people in the school are impressed with us after they get over the fact that we're a club about mental health. They're kind of impressed because they want to talk about mental health, but it takes a lot of courage to start a club and to be in a club and do events about it. So I think they're impressed that we do that.
Yeah, I know when I started this, it was hard to get the very few that I could get of you guys to be in it last year because, you know, it's not a very talked about topic and not a lot of people are very educated on it. But I'm hoping you guys can keep spreading the word about it being not necessarily like such a stigmatized group, and that you guys can make it more normalized just to talk about mental health in the communities.
I know like a lot of my friends at first like were like, what is REDgen? They had no idea. Even like this year, like even though it started last year, they didn't know what it was this year.
Yeah.
And at first I did tell them, but then as like the year has progressed, more and more people in the school have like figured out what REDgen is and what it stands for. And especially now with Hope Squad, people really like are starting to understand how important mental health is becoming in the school and how prevalent an issue it is. And at first my friends thought like, why are you in it? Like, what's the point? And then when I started to educate them about it, they finally understood it's not just about being in a club. It's about like communicating to not just with us, but like outside of our group, like why mental health matters and why we should be talking about it.
Okay, this year we're working on the 8 areas of wellness out of the Team Compass book by Holly Hughes Stoner and D. Scott Stoner. And the 8 areas are healthy relationships, handling emotions, spirituality, rest and play, stress resilience, care for the body, organization, and school and work. And so we paired up with the library this year. So for each subject, we pair up with them and they put out books on the same subject. And then so students can check out what we're working on each month.
This year we're really trying to focus on raising mental health awareness in like the school and like get the discussion rolling between staff, students, and especially like parents at home.
Not everyone has found that idea of succeeding at an individual level, and that's caused some issues, especially like in our community. And I think a lot of people have started to realize that over the past few years, and now they're more apt to like listening to REDgen and more to like talking about what's going on.
We really look at ourselves as a catalyst of change, so we don't really make people change, but we hopefully give people the information that make them want to change. And I feel like that's what you guys are doing here too. So you guys are, and it just kind of, it's cool to me to see how like Barrett had this experience and then she shared it with Annie and then she shared it. And it's like everyone matters, you know, everyone's just those little comments, little interactions, they all matter to make a bigger change. And so
It's contagious.
it is, and it's, you know, I think, you know, just this idea of being individuals, and it's like we don't have to be everybody, we just have to be who we are, and that little piece is going to impact somebody else. So
That's
it's really
awesome.
cool to see that kind of come out of this.